webinar. To be more precise, it is Globalization of IIT Delhi Alumni Association. However, the journey of IITDAA and IITD are intertwined in a way. I am delighted to welcome a mystery speaker today. I'm also delighted to welcome a new advisory board member who has joined last week. And I'll give you the name of the new advisory board member as well as the total number of advisory board members we have as on date. What we have done now is to pair up geography coordinators with an advisory board member. So we now have 2 advisory board members from US, and they are Rajiv Kapoor and Shashi Chawla. And they are paired up with the 4 geography coordinators in the US, 2 on the East Coast, 2 on the West Coast. Likewise, for Canada, we have 2 advisory board members, Harinder and Nemi Banthia. And they have been paired up with Surinder, who's the geography coordinator for Canada, as well as 3 other people, Vijay Ivili, Anirban, and Sarin, who are all from Canada. Then we go across to Japan, and we have Anil Gupta, who is the advisory board member, who's been paired up with Amandeep for Japan. Likewise, for UK, we have Yogesh Andle, who though is based in India, but knows that geography well, has been extensively involved with IIT Delhi Alumni Association. He will be the advisory board member for UK. And we have 3 EC members, which are Manmohan, Prakash, and Basant. And Prakash is the geography coordinator for UK. Coming to Europe. For Europe, we have Sanjeet as the geography coordinator. And for Europe, we have a new advisory board member, Amardev Sarma. Amardev Sarma is 1977 BTech and potentially has been living in Germany for the last 43 years and is currently the general manager of NEC Labs in Germany. I'm not sure whether he's joined in the call so far. Amardev, you are there. I can see that you joined.
Hello. Hi.
Can you unmute yourself?
Yes, I have.
Can you just wave your hand so that everybody can see you? Fabulous. Amardev is my batchmate from IIT Delhi, but I'm also bonding back with him after 43 years. So later on by email, I will introduce you to Sanjeet, who is the geography coordinator from Europe, and he's based in Denmark. So ladies and gentlemen, can I ask you to give a big round of applause to Amardev as the latest advisory board member?
Thank you.
Fabulous. Moving on to the next, which is the mystery speaker of the day. I'm delighted to welcome Pradeep Gupta, 1975 BTech, 1977 IIM Cal, founder and chairman of Cyber Media, former chair of Pan IIT, Senate member of IIT Delhi, and IIM Calcutta Incubation Kit, recognized as one of the top mentors by the Government of India. Please give a round of applause to Pradeep Gupta. PG, can you? Yeah, lovely to see you. And I'm changing the order of the agenda and kickstarting with PG giving his perspectives on globalization of IIT Delhi, on building the community, what has been his experience in terms of good practices, lessons learned, and anything else that you think is relevant. PG, you have 10 minutes. Over to you.
Sure. So thank you very much, Pradeep, for that introduction. You know, my mother always loves those introductions, and my wife never believes them. So, you know, uh, uh, and good to see so many people and so many familiar faces I can see here. Some of them I'm seeing after several years. So I think the best thing would be for me to talk about the Pan IIT experience and what has worked and what has not worked. And perhaps that can set up some sort of a global agenda. Because on Pan IIT also we had set up a Pan IIT Global, and I was part of that particular initiative as well. So one thing which is very clear, and I saw that in the minutes of the uh, last meeting that you guys had, that, you know, the moment you start going outside of India, because the numbers of individual IITs become smaller, therefore it is more of a Pan IIT kind of a thing that becomes bigger in let's say places like Australia and elsewhere. So I think, you know, if you start looking at the individual IITs, probably it is only in the US where you may have sufficient numbers. But the moment you start looking at, you know, even Singapore or Japan or some of the other places, there perhaps, you know, it is the numbers are smaller, and therefore it is more the IIT rather than IIT Delhi, uh, which becomes the kind of a group. Second thing is that there has to be some kind of ongoing activities, some kind of an ongoing agenda that needs to be worked out to ensure that there is continuity in terms of interaction. Otherwise, our experience has been that, uh, and I've seen that in several of the chapters that were started at Pan IIT, where because of a lack of a continuous level of activity, what has happened is that, you know, initially they start with a big bang. There is some event that happens, huge number of people come together, that entire thing happens. But then after that, what you find is that because there is lack of any kind of an activity, and suddenly, you know, in the group which was actually working on that particular project, somebody gets shifted from one country to another, and suddenly the activity level declines dramatically. So I think, you know, that is something which is very important. And again, taking a cue from Pan IIT, where there were four things that we talked about. You know, one of them was networking. Obviously, you know, alumni get together because they want to network amongst themselves. Second thing was, you know, giving back to the IITs. There are ways in which we can engage as far as the IITs are concerned. Can we go back to our alma mater, and can we contribute in some manner or the other? You know, so that was the second kind of a thing which was there. The third point was that, you know, uh, what can we do as far as the nation is concerned? So can there be some sort of nation building kind of activities that can be done? You know, And the fourth thing is that, can there be, amongst ourselves, can we create some kind of business related interactions and so on. So those were the sort of four planks, four pillars around which interaction needs to take place. So perhaps what I would suggest is that if the group thinks of those uh, planks that can actually be created, and what can be the things on which some kind of ongoing activities can be done, so that there is a regular sort of an agenda that is worked out for those activities. And once that is there, then you will automatically find that it will grow. Okay, the moment we found that at Pan IIT, it's unfortunate that it got into politics and so on, and therefore the level of activities came down. But now it is again getting revived. But aside from that, there was a time when there were a lot of different kind of activities which were being done on each of these four pillars. And therefore, it is important for this group to identify what will be a program, and along with that particular program, what are going to be the specific activities that could be done. And I think if that sort of a thing is there, then I think you will have a very, very successful agenda. I think my 10 minutes are over, so I will stop here. But I'm here till 7:30, and so till 8. Sorry, and therefore would be glad to give my inputs as and when you want them.
Yeah, I have a question for Pradeep. This is Sanjay.
Yeah.
So, Pradeep, in a city outside India where there is a Pan IIT organization exists, do you recommend a separate IIT-D alumni organization, or should we just work with the same?
So
I think it depends on the numbers.
Yeah.
I think there has to be a critical number that has to be there. If that critical number is exceeded, then you will definitely find, cities like Bombay, cities like Bangalore and so on within India, where you will have large enough numbers that will ensure that there is a regular kind of an activity which is there. Otherwise, it becomes otherwise probably just the IIT brand works better. Let's say a place like Nagpur, may not have enough IIT Delhi alums, but if you add all the IITs, then you will find that that number will get crossed. Yeah, I think Harinder, you have.
Yeah.
Oh, so hang on a sec. Can I ask everybody who wants to ask question to put up their hands on Zoom first? Otherwise we'll go into a bit of an uncoordinated this thing. So over to you, Harinder.
Okay. I don't think what we are trying to create is replacing overall IIT organization. IIT Delhi has got specific needs, especially as the director said, we want to raise the profile of IIT Delhi so that it comes in one of the 100 top universities in the world. Now that is a unique requirement of IIT Delhi. So when we talk about this organization, we are talking about unique requirements of IIT Delhi. And secondly, global requirements. Secondly, with today's world connected through, the way we are discussing today, which is Zoom and many other capabilities, the distance between people matters much less now. And the activities we can do can be through this kind of medium. It is true that in many countries there are not enough IIT Delhi people to have separate organizations there, but this is not separate for each one. It's a united organization. That's my point.
Absolutely right, Harinder. And I will respond to both the responses given by PG as well as the questions raised by Sanjay and Harinder. First and foremost, PG, you are absolutely right. When we talk of places outside India, then the brand IIT kind of overtakes an individual institution like IIT Delhi or Kanpur, etc., whatever it might be. And this is not so much for the alumni, but for the local stakeholders who are very important in the brand building exercise. That's point number one, and that is fully recognized. When we look at certain countries like USA, Canada, UK, Australia, there is significant number of IIT Delhi population. With a rough estimate in the last call, Canada has about 300 odd IIT Delhi alumni. USA has many times more than that. Australia has more than 100. I don't have any idea about UK, which are significant numbers to call it within the overall IIT landscape, maybe a special interest group of IIT Delhi. Now, the third thing is, so therefore, to answer your question, yes, IIT Delhi community building exercise is happening, but yes, they need to work in tandem with the Pan IITs or any other kind of IIT association which is at play in these kind of countries. Other countries, the numbers will be so small itself that it will become more like maybe a representative or a mini chapter or whatever it is, and which can be handled on a case-to-case basis. Although Japan is also very interesting that we already know from Amandeep that he himself knows about 30 odd people from IIT Delhi over there just now, and they are still finding some more people. So that's insofar as a separate IITD or not. So yes, it is a separate entity that we are talking about, which works in tandem with Pan IIT. Number 2 point which PD made is a very relevant point, that there has to be an ongoing agenda to get the level of engagement. And hereby, what are we doing actually? We are building a community. And the community, building a community has 3 specific elements. One is that you get the numbers or you grow the community. Second is you engage with the community. And the third is when you address the value attributes that the community is looking for. So we are at the moment in the phase, because we don't even have the data at the moment about all the 52,000 IIT Delhi alumni. We are in the process of mapping out or growing the community base. That's number one. And absolutely the agenda comes along insofar as engagement is concerned. And that is where one of the primary drivers for this group is that to make a value.
बाहर आ जा, अच्छा इसको वो छोड़ के गई थी क्या?
Can I ask everybody to be on mute, please?
जहाँ दोबारा क्या ले गया है?
Hang on a sec, let me mute everybody who's okay. So coming back to it, so one of the drivers for what we are doing at the moment is to move away from emotional connect only and to have emotional connect as the foundation for what we are trying to build as a value-based association. And what PG talked about is, exactly some of the value attributes. But we have to keep in mind today that the demographics of the alumni association span from 1966 graduates, which is people like Harinder, to 2020. Now, that's a very wide, big range, So therefore, the value attributes are also going to be, different among different groups. And therefore, the role of special interest groups comes into play very strongly. And whether those special interest groups are along geography, along, different themes, functionality, whatever it might be. And the overarching this is to create a platform where people can connect for whatever they want to do, whether it is for education, business, person, getting married, or getting their kids married, or whatever it might be, But that depends that we need to be kind of talking to the broader community to find out what are the value attributes for engagement. Absolutely right.
Pradeep, I would just like to add one more thing to Harinder's query. Yes, it is important to have special interest groups, but it should also, institute, for example, will say that they want faculty. Now, if there is a thing that you pick up, which is that, okay, we'll get faculty now, fewer number of people may get involved there. So yes, you can have special interest groups which look at these narrow focused activities, but you must also become an agenda which is wide, which engages large number of people. Okay, so keep that breadth as well as the depth.
Absolutely right, because it is just like the federal government, you guess you will have those states and constellations which are floating around, but there has to be something which is binding the overall community. I couldn't agree more with you, PG, on that.
Yeah. What I
Yes, Harinder.
what I just stated was just as an example, but overall, there is no question, at least in my mind, that there's a more affinity between students of the same organization like IIT Delhi than between IIT Delhi and Bombay. It is great to work together as a fraternity, but within the IIT, we got certain experiences which are very important for creating that affinity. So special interest group for special things, being able to communicate with each other. If we need, say, help in Japan from somebody, we know somebody in Japan can help me. So creating this kind of fraternity is very important.
I couldn't agree more with you, because you see, when we go back to whom are we kind of interacting the most, we are interacting with our batchmates, we are interacting with people in our own field. So yes, absolutely, you are 100% right. So therefore, when we talk about, it comes down to who are the internal stakeholders and who are the external stakeholders. From internal stakeholders perspective, the bonding is going to be absolutely on an institute-wide basis. From the external stakeholder perspective, it comes down to looking at the pan IIT kind of a thing. Now, in the interest of time, we will have to move on, and anybody if has any questions, they can put it into the chat or send an email to me, and we can get them taken off once again. So thank you very much, PG, for joining in, and we look forward to your ongoing, at whatever form and shape. I know that you are pretty caught up, involvement to that extent, because this is where we are on a journey, which is just started at the moment, Okay, so take care. Thanks. Now, moving on to the next item. Every session, we will be presenting to you one advisory board member. And as I mentioned to you, that we have, right from Harinder, who's been living in Montreal for 50 years and is the first batch graduate from IIT Delhi, to Nemi Banthia, who's in Vancouver, to Rajiv Kapoor, who's in Maryland, to Shashi Chawla, who's in Boston, to Amardev, who's in Germany. I don't know which part of Germany he is, but he's in Germany. To Anil Gupta, who's while based in India, but very strongly aligned with Japan. Yogesh Andle. And we also have Rajiv Kapoor. Rajiv Kapoor is 1976 BTech from IIT Delhi, 1978 from IIM Calcutta. He has been a senior corporate leader, very strongly involved into consumer marketing and fintech, and has worked with most of the major global brands like PepsiCo, like Visa, like Procter & Gamble in senior management roles. He has been living all over the world, and also particularly in the last couple of years, he's kind of settled in Singapore. Ladies and gentlemen, and he is going to be the advisor looking after Singapore and ASEAN. It is possible that there may be more people joining in from other parts of the world, but we will kind of relook those kind of factors. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a round of applause to Rajiv Kapoor, and I ask Rajiv to share his thoughts on the same subject in terms of globalization of IIT Delhi Alumni Association, and what about the initiative itself, his thoughts.
So,
first of all, round of applause, please. So over to you.
Thank you, Pradeep, for that very warm and generous introduction. I want to give a big shout out to Pradeep Gupta. I'm seeing him after, I think, 42 years. So it's a great privilege for Pradeep Khanna to bring together this group. And then an old buddy of mine, Ajay Podar, who before we had WhatsApp and Facebook and LinkedIn, was the go-to person for pulling together people from at least my batch. And we are all from Aravali. So I think that's a kind of further bond that we have. So,
hi Rajiv, good to see you. And I see that you've got more shirt buttons closed compared to what used to be the case at IIT. And
age, modesty, and grace takes over. So, firstly, a shout out to Pradeep Khanna. I mean, we've all been corporate warriors, and it's quite a grueling journey, especially for those of us who've come to the end of it. We're happy to get off the hamsters on the perennial wheel. And I never cease to be amazed by Pradeep's indefatigable energy. I mean, we all thought we were corporate warriors. He's like the super warrior. There's no kryptonite that can bring him down. So he's 24 by 7. I just don't know how you do it, Pradeep. You'll put a 30-year-old to shame. So thank you for your energy in this group also. I think it's a wonderful, wonderful kinship that we are creating. But I want to make sure, I mean, and this is my perspective, and I share what everyone has said. This shouldn't just be a talk fest that over time withers away. We need to bring to the table the passion and the energies we have. So as Pradeep requested, I'll bring my personal perspective to it. So I've been in Singapore, among other countries, and Singapore is now my home and for my family. And we were here around the Y2K time. And for those of you who may not know of Singapore, it's predominantly a Chinese population, 70%, next Malays, and the Indians, who were the ethnic Tamils who came in from Tamil Nadu when the British brought them in as indentured labor, were the 10%, but they were always at the bottom end of the food chain. So the image of Indians was very poor, and Y2K changed that. And I was with Visa at the time, and I had an American boss, and he came to me very excited, and he said, "Oh, I never knew till now you're from IIT. IIT is the best institute in the world. It's tougher to get into IIT than it is to Harvard or Stanford, because at that time, there was a lot of very good positive news that was developing on IIT. And ever since then, IIT and the professionalism of Indians has grown, including in Singapore. So the techies were followed by the bankers and the consultants. They make up the professionals. And there is a lot of, albeit grudging, respect for Indians around the world. And we know certainly in Asia, I had colleagues from mainland China who would marvel to say, how do Indians make the corner office and Chinese can't? So I think it's a truism that Indians will always do better than China, but China will always do better than India. So that brings me to the point, how can we as IITians, and I take Harinder's point that this was what the director said in the last meeting, he would like to raise the profile of IIT Delhi versus the others. And when many of us were in IIT, there were only 5, and IIT Delhi, IIT Bombay were always jostling for preeminence. And I think Bombay was always the go-to place for corporates, because a lot of corporations in India were in Bombay, and therefore they went to Bombay. But IIT Delhi, I think over time, in keeping with the North Indian diaspora, has built a kind of entrepreneurial zeal, whether you think of our alumni, who were Google or SoftBank. There are many IIT Delhi alumni, the Flipkart, the Snapdeals, who have risen to the top. So one of the themes I am thinking of, and I spoke to Pradeep briefly, is that many of us who have reached the end of our corporate career, and picking up on Pradeep's last point, are more interested in ensuring that we put our business knowledge to use in a professional but also commercial way. I think supporting and mentoring startups can be very interesting. And I think IIT Delhi can be a very good incubator for growing and supporting new startup tech companies. And I'll give you an example. In the last meeting, Anup Gupta and Amandeep had talked about Japan. And Japan, as we know, is quite conservative. They've been slow to invest in India, unlike Korea, China, of course, Europe and the US. But now the Japanese have got very interested. And though they're conservative, again, from my connections in Japan, they have been marveling at the intellectual energy of the youngsters in India, people whether in Bangalore or Delhi or Pune, how many new ventures there are and how the leapfrogging of technology is enabling new startup ideas. So I think more VC money came into India and tech startups last year than went into China. So my one theme or submission for the group is for us to perhaps look at tech startups. I would happily put up my hand to join Anil Gupta or Amandeep, into bringing Japanese companies into India. And for people like me, it gives me a sense of purpose, but also a sense of being productive as we get off the corporate wheel. Uh, my second point also plays to something that Pradeep said, which is how can we give back to IIT? How can we give back to society? And in both of these themes, how do we raise the profile of IIT Delhi by being good alumni? And within my own IIT chemical engineering batch of 71, we've set up a WhatsApp group. There's a very keen desire by many of them to give back to society. And Pradeep, I took your name in vain. I said, if you want to do something, don't do it in a small group. Join the IIT Delhi chapter. Pradeep Khanna is doing a marvelous job. So I'll direct those of you who are interested into
Thank you.
joining the chapter through yourself. So I would suggest that these are two ways to my mind that strike and resonate with me to help mentor tech startups, angel investing, VC investing. It gives me a lot of personal energy. And then for those of us who are more altruistic bent, and we know many things are wrong with India, if we want to correct them, people want to give back to society. For those of us who are retiring or retired, it could be a very good forum. And we should, of course, link up with the authorities in IIT Delhi to ask how can we raise the profile of IIT Delhi, specifically to Harinder's point. So I'm reinforcing everything that Pradeep said, Pradeep Khanna, Pradeep Gupta, the director requested of us, and also Harinder's point. So that's my 2 bits worth, Pradeep. Over back to you. Or any questions?
Thank you so much, Rajiv. I love the perspectives which were, in a sense, consolidating as well as adding some new dimensions. So, any questions from the audience? If not, then again, in the interest of time, let's give a round of applause to Rajiv. Rajiv will be the advisory board member for the ASEAN region. And I've already connected him with Sundi as well as with Ragi, who are based in Singapore. And we will be in ongoing discussions. I also appreciated the fact that you let your batch know about this because end of the day, like I say, it is a PPP strategy. P is push, where we collectively as a group are trying to do. The value attributes are the pull, but in between, it is the peer network which is the most powerful because that translates into passing on your trust. Your batchmates will come to this only because once you mention to them, you have the element of trust with them, which I may or may not have. But so that is why the peer element is the most important as we grow the community as well as we engage with the community. Thank you once again, Rajiv. Really appreciated that. Now, moving on to the next item, I will be inviting Ravi. Ravi to give an update on. Ravi is the president of IIT Delhi Alumni Association, and he will give an update from an IIT DAA perspective. So over to you,
Okay.
Ravi.
Yeah. Uh, Thank you, Pradeep, giving me an opportunity again to give perspective from IITD. And I am wishing all irrespective good morning, evening, what you can take up. And see, then today our Mr. PG has started and he has given the, like in the previous talk also we have talked about the involving the PAN IIT as a PAN IIT approach. Now there to build the community, there are two things required. One is the data, which I spoke last time also. And once you have the data, then the interaction happens, the social interaction. So to address these two things, we have made now two policy. I mean, from last week to this week. One is a data sharing protection and privacy policy, and the social media policy. So because the data, unless until we share the data with the other alumni who want to build a community, digital community, we need to have a uh, uh, I mean usable data, which and then I spoke that when we take a consent from the alumni, that whether how to use their data and all the stuff. So there's the two things. One is data, another is Once you have the data, you build a community and then regulate the interaction. You have some social media presence. Currently, the IITDA is more active in the social media platform. I mean, compared to other medium. And recently, Sanjay Singhal has asked whether we should have a separate chapter or this thing. As far this year, I made my vision that we should have a digital platform or digital transformation should be the way forward. So we should build a community. Everything is more on the digital, less on the physical, because a lot of compliance issue, a lot of things may crop up. So that is the my idea, that we should be a digital community, create a chapter or a special interviews on a digital platform. So that should be our focus. Now coming to the next point, like Pradeep has raised, that why this we start with a big bang and then this activity, the enthusiasm goes away after some time. See, I'll tell you, the PAN IIT office is the next door neighbor of IIT Delhi Alumni Association office. He is the just next office is PAN IIT. PAN IIT India I'm talking about, not the PAN IIT USA. They are our neighbors. But if you take the PAN IIT, average age of those who are involved is around 60 years. It's a average age I'm talking about 60 years. So we, in an organization which had, I think these guys, when they started, they would be around 45 or maybe for 40, 45 or 35, 45 range. Now, when they have grown up, they have not introduced or integrated the new leadership, the new alumni who was more enthusiastic. So that is why the PAN IIT momentum has lost the intro which they built in the beginning. See, I attended 2006 PAN IIT Mumbai event, and last I attended 2010 when it has happened Delhi, and sorry, I attended Delhi, which has in our campus only. So to have this momentum, you have to build a talent pool or committed alumni who can contribute to alumni growth, IIT Delhi or alma mater growth. So that is the lacking in PAN IIT. So IITDA, our focus will be there, that we should have a range of the person who want to contribute to growth of building the community should be in the range of 35 to 40. We need senior alumni to have the wisdom and the perspective and the broader perspective, but we should have enthusiastic alumni, younger alumni. We have to cultivate both. We have to have a synergy between both. So that is a learning as for IIT Delhi admissions there with the PAN IIT. So that is the one point I want to stress, I want to put before you. And I'm very happy that Rajiv Kapoor has talked about that they want to give back. And this is the age. I mean, then again, this is like a Manprastha Ashram, when a lot of alumni want to come back, and the younger age, I mean, they are more into building their career, their family, or they're finding their own calling or their own ikakai, with their purpose. So with that, I just conclude. And I give over to Pradeep. And thanks for listening me. And if you have any question, please, I'll ready to answer.
So thank you very much, Ravi. And any questions from the audience? Please raise your hand if you have, and raise your hands in Zoom.
Where is the raise hand gone?
Who is this? Is this Vijay Ivoli? Do you want to say something?
Yes, yeah. My camera is off today. So I think by about next week, or maybe in 2 weeks, we should probably have some agenda as to this is what we must achieve in about 6 months or maybe 1 year, and start working towards that, like a specific goal. Could be endowment, could be anything. This is my suggestion.
Yes, but do you have any questions for Ravi at the moment?
Well, I thought he was the IITDA chair.
No,
so
that's okay. If you have any questions for him at the moment, because for this agenda in this particular forum, I mean, we collectively are good enough to decide what timelines, etc. And I take your point that yes, we need to have, and we come back to the same thing what Harinder said in the beginning also. Absolutely, and there as you are aware that there is a parallel exercise going, which is being headed by Sundi, which in terms of creating the vision, mission, and objectives, and so on and so forth. So yes.
See, Pradeep, one point I would like to. I am part of PAN IIT also.
Okay.
So I involved in PAN IIT also on behalf of IIT Delhi Alumni Association. So I'm
Very good.
part of Pan IIT also. I represent Pan IIT also. So anything, I mean, any issue, if you want to discuss, I'm part of CNET member also. So the three organization right now, I'm representing the three different platform. IIT Delhi Alumni Association as a president, member of Pan IIT, and member of CNET also.
Yep.
So anything, any issues, I mean, a lot of issues are coming. Recently, we have issues that those guys who are not completed BTech degree, I wrote to director to give a BSc degree. Or you take some exam, give some lower criteria of grade, because many people, and I have received the request from the guys, they have built a big companies. They have been funded by many venture capitalists, but there's a real, like our own IIT Delhi, Mark Zuckerberg or Bill Gates. So when I wrote there, I told why you need a degree from IIT Delhi. So, but they say that this is because a lot of when children educations are there, when they are to apply for some visa or other thing. I think parent education also one of the factor is considered. So they want to have the degree also. So like any other issue which we need to, address through IIT Delhi mission before the Senate or before the Pan IIT, I am your representative. I am speaking your voice there. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Pradeep, I have a question for Ravi.
Yes,
Yeah,
please.
please.
Yes, please.
Ravi,
Please introduce yourself. I know you, but please introduce yourself to the group.
This is Manmohan, 1984 batch mechanical, Nilgiri. Question for Ravi, because in the UK we have less IIT alumni, IIT Delhi alumni. So when we talk about, say, joint meetings with Pan IIT or somehow to build up volume, do you have examples of events or activities that IIT DAA has done jointly with Pan IIT or IIT, specifically other IITs?
Yeah. See, we have legally, we have two different PAN IIT and IIT is there, but internally we are the same only. I mean, this PAN IIT recently they organized like where this guy was there, our Raghuram Rajan was there, and other Sundi was there from Jwala. So we, this all events are supported, promoted by us only, because they don't have the infrastructure to create the awareness. So it is that the distinction between two entities is only more in the in the legal terms, but culturally and emotionally we work in synchronization with each other. I mean, when the Pan IIT events are there, I don't keep any activity on behalf of IITDA. So we work basically together. But since we represent a particular institution and like we have the more emotional connectivity, so we have a separate name. But otherwise, we belong to the same group like IIT system only. So now Pan IIT again they started activity, but internally like I am connected with IIT Delhi, sorry IIT Kharagpur Alumni Association President. We discuss with him also like how the things move. So it is internally we are working together only. So difference is only in nature. I mean, it's not in the substance.
Thank you. And I'll add it to what Ravi has said. You see, if, for example, the number of alumni in UK are not too many, then one of the ways is to have a combined chapter of a neighboring geography. In this case, we can have a combined chapter of Europe. You know, although we know that UK has already taken the Brexit path, but we from our IIT Delhi Alumni Association can still have a common chapter with Europe and UK. That's one of the thoughts. The other point is that what you mentioned about Pan IIT and how do you kind of link up with Pan IIT? In number of overseas countries, Pan IIT tends to be a separate registered body because in most of the countries, overseas countries like Australia, UK, Canada, etc., you know, when you form an association, there are compliance requirements from different government departments, which require to be registered, to have a formal, you know, audit done of your accounts and so on and so forth. So it may be worthwhile to find out that if there is some equivalent of Pan IIT, and this is possibly for you, Ravi, to see whether there is some Pan IIT which is, you know, registered in UK or Europe kind of a thing, which potentially can, you know, be linked up from a Manmohan perspective. Now, here again, there is a, you know, some confusion because there's a Pan IIT which is, you know, operating in US, there's a Pan IIT which is operating in India, but forgetting about all that, if there is a collective body of IITs in UK, So I think this is for everybody. For PG, you would also be in a good position to kind of find this out. Would really appreciate if you can find out if there is a pan IT kind of a body in UK, and we get them connected with Prakash, Manmohan, and all these people. I've seen that they've already started a lot of good work in terms of building up the database kind of a thing. So thank you very much, Ravi.
Sure, I can do that.
Thank you very much, PG. And thank you very much, Ravi. And kind of let's move on to the next, and I'll kind of keep changing the order, the agenda order, depending on what kind of comes up to my mind. Now, at this point, I must tell you that as all of us have been in global careers, it is very challenging to find a time slot which works for everybody. And so I must acknowledge the two ends of the time spectrum who have to either sleep very late or get up very early. And one end, this is a big kudos for Pooja. Pooja is based in Auckland. And remember, it is 11:45 in the night in Sydney, and Auckland is 2 hours ahead of us. So poor Pooja has been awake at 1:45 to join this call. So a big round of applause for Pooja, please. And on the other end of the spectrum, we have the US West Coast, places like San Francisco, LA, etc. Now, when it is 11 o'clock in Sydney or it is 1 p.m. GMT, it is 6 a.m. Now, those people, people like Anjali, people like Srijita, who are in Portland or in, some parts of California, they are getting up at 6 o'clock. They've got families, etc. They're kind of, having careers, family, and again getting up at 6 o'clock. So please, a round of applause also for those people from the West Coast US who are getting up.
IIT की मीटिंग चल रही है.
भाई साहब जरा आप अपने आप को म्यूट कर लो, आप जो भी हैं. Okay, so now moving on to the next item, which is for our great friend Sanjeet from Denmark. Sanjeet is the geography coordinator for Europe. And I will be asking Sanjeet to give his perspectives about his Europe vision, what is he doing in Europe, and then later on, I will also ask Amardev Sharma, although this is the first meeting that he's attending and he's not had much of interaction, to really comment and to connect Amardev with Sanjeet. So please, a big round of applause for Sanjeet, and over to you, Sanjeet.
Thank you, Pradeep, for giving me chance to speak up, because in the last meeting, when our director, Professor Rao, was telling us that how can we make our IIT Delhi one of the premium institution in the world, and I thought it's the right time. I can, with my little experience in Europe for last 10, 12 years, what I learn here and what I gain here, I can share with it. And immediately I got your suggestion that can you speak up in the next meeting. So thank you so much for giving me chance. And I will take this opportunity to first tell a little bit about myself and my journey and how I reach here and what I gain here. And then I will present you some of my thoughts, which we can use for making our extreme IIT Delhi leader in the world in terms of our technological and professional and educational achievement. See my screen?
No, not as yet.
Actually, you disabled participants' screen sharing.
Really?
Yeah, it's giving me this message.
Mute, allow participants to unmute themselves. Yeah, which is there. Yes. Allow participants to rename themselves, play, lock. I don't have any option. And I've done nothing.
Okay, doesn't matter. Okay, doesn't matter, Pradeep. Sorry for interruption. So I will introduce myself here. Uh, for my academic achievement, I'm passed out of 2006, and I did my doctorate in power electronics and drive, and I was living in Jwalamukhi hostel. And I also did my executive management education from MIT Boston. And I was in Denmark when I moved here in a global R&D center to work as a senior scientist for doing research in motor control algorithm. As you know, this Danfoss, who was the inventor of air conditioning as well as motor control. So variable frequency drive they invented. So it was a prestige to join them. And then I did with full time my job. I did MSc engineering in innovation and business from South Denmark University. And I do have published international journal and international conference, more than 50 article. I do have 4 international US patents. I wrote 2 books on power electronics and drive. One is published from Academic Press UK, and another one on IIT Press UK. And these books are the kind of all the extreme scientists of world, they contributed chapter on this, and I'm proud part of this project. And some of the things which I earned through the my affiliation to IIT Delhi, like I bestowed honorary adjunct professorship position of Curtin University Perth for a period of 2 years, 2016 to 18. I visited there. I share my product development and my technology development and those things, and I interacted with the faculty there. I'm part of the member of innovation and business faculty of South Denmark University from last 2 years. I'm also industry relation coordinator of IEEE Denmark section, and there are other involvement like in industrial electronics. We do have top rank journal IEEE Transaction Industrial Electronics. I'm part of that editorial board of that journal. And in the meantime, I got some recognition, like I got awarded by Danfoss CEO and Executive Committee for highest level Global Innovation Award, Man on the Moon in 2015. And I also got Outstanding Achievement in Power Electronics Research Award, that is named as IIT Bimal Bose Award from India in 2017. And these are my few, just my background. And I want to say that basically I'm educator turned to the technology and innovation. So I'm having a experience in how can we make better our education, and how can we, what ideas, there are some ideas which I can share now, which we can take into consideration. And I request to Ravi that if we can continuing later on follow it, and if you find some of the ideas good, then we can further shape them. So first up, the most important thing, how can we make IIT Delhi impactful in the Europe? And the foremost thing I think comes in my mind, that if we make database of IIT Delhi alumni, and we can maintain a close network to utilize their expertise, their research achievement, and their leadership, so they can guide us to make us difference in the world and make us proud. And for that, I do have some proposal, which like I will invite all our global committee member, global executive committee member in the LinkedIn group, and I request them to please forward these invitation to your colleague, batchmate, junior, seniors who are who you know, so we can get a database of our IIT Delhi extreme alumni. And I also do request to Ravi for if he can share partial data. Maybe I don't need all the information, but if I know that this is the person and he's living in this country, and then maybe some year of pass out, so I can then work on it and then create a database. And I'm relying on this IT Alumni Association database as well as on LinkedIn professional group. And for making it this difference, I do have some proposals. So one of the proposal is how can we establish link between top European universities, and this we can do with their TTOs and with our IIT Delhi entrepreneurship cell. Because I was in past involved in ASTP Proton Conference and being a member of Industrial Electronics Society, so I participated in these conferences, and this is the best showcase for all the TTOs of Europe. So if our IIT Delhi entrepreneurship cell can take some initiative on that direction, then we can establish very good link with the top European university. And I know that in the past, IIT Delhi Alumni Association and IIT Delhi did great work to link with the Australian universities and US universities. But I see that there are scope to include the European university too. And then one of the major area where we can make difference. Can we make some synergies between scientific organization of Europe and IIT Delhi? And I can name a few like Fraunhofer Institute and the Karlsruhe University Industrial Cluster, Nuremberg University Innovation Cell. So if we can involve these institutions which are spin out of universities or they are funded by the government, and then we can really get very much advantage of it. And I'm pretty sure that a lot of IIT Delhi and Pan IIT alumni are working in these institutions. Then one another thing is IIT Delhi innovation and patent portfolio. In the last 5 years, there is this is the proud to share with you this news that our patent portfolio of IIT Delhi alone has increased to a vast number. It's not in 100 or 200. It increased to more than 500 or even 1,000. I don't have exact number, but Ravi can tell us about it. But it's a proud. And can we share this patent database with European university and European industries, European Union, and can we leverage on these patents? So this is also an area, and then of course we can make big difference in the world, and we can have impactful presence of IIT Delhi. And then can we involve top European professors and to make knowledge exchange through MOU between respective universities and institutions and between IIT Delhi. What happening right now that our every department is having certain professors and they are having their individual connections, but that is not institutionalized. So we can make it, and in that way we have better, broader connections and a big impact on it. And there are some other things what we can do to make IIT Delhi impactful in Europe. We can showcase our research lab and our infrastructure of IIT Delhi to researcher of Europe. I know when I was a student there, this biotechnology lab, that was one of the biggest lab of Asia in biotechnology. So, and similarly, we do have our care lab, we do have our automobile lab. Our labs are one of the best in the world, but we need to showcase. And can we have this interaction between researcher of world, and we can invite them and we can take leverage, we can showcase our labs to the outside. This, I don't know about how we are convergent with the open day concept, but in Denmark, we do have this thing. One day open for our external partner and whoever who can join and see the, even our Danfoss office is also inviting outsiders and showing this. So we, our IIT Delhi also make this open day for major universities of Europe, and we can send invitation and we can involve them. One more thing comes in my mind, that rotation of the faculty to identified lab and department of Europe, European universities, that we can do. And this can be a joint effort between the IIT Delhi Alumni Association and the Government of India level initiative. So I do know that our foreign ministry, they have some initiative in Norway, because I do have some connection in Agder University, and the government of India and Norway government have this academic exchange and these things that we can extend to Denmark and Germany and other countries in Europe also. And there, we as a whole can make a big role, and through a proper channel we can show our interest, and we can file this request officially to Government of India about it. And then, as you know, we are lacking in the semiconductor industry, we are lacking in the semiconductor packaging industry, infrastructure, knowledge, technology. So can we do some initiative on this thrust area of technology? And Germany, Austria, and Switzerland, they are the world leader on that. So through a recognized center in IIT Delhi like CARE, we can make some accelerated growth on that direction. And there are some more. They are my ideas, because you know that this country of 5.5 million, but having 8th number in innovation in world ranking, and it is having per capita income around first 20 country in the world. And one of the reason what I observed in last 12 years with education system, where my kids were also part of it, innovation is a subject in middle school level. So kids know that what is the business case, how can they sell their product, and how can they marketize it, and they are having those ideas from the childhood. And I'm not proposing something, but we can think of it in IIT Delhi. We can make an optional subject, innovation as optional subject for technology, management, and science. Everybody, and our esteemed student, that they can take this subject, and this can change, and we can initiate some kind of a major change in the mindset of not only in IIT Delhi and in whole country afterward. We can do some workshop, we can do some training courses, knowledge exchange between European scientific community and IIT Delhi. And I do have example like European Center of Power Electronics, ECPE, that is a big body in Europe for power electronics. And then another one I told you, ASTP Proton, which is a union of all the universities and their innovation and entrepreneurship cell, their technology transfer officers, and they are having this group. So we can have some kind of joint interaction with these associations. And then last but not the least, being a power electronics engineer, I see the big role of IIT alumni and their role for green energy initiative, learning from Europe, like where we are having close to 100% green energy production, starting from Spain to Denmark to Norway to in some cases 50-60% of energy production through green resources in Germany. So we can make this also as a differentiator for when it comes to the IIT Delhi leadership role. And in the end, I'm thankful for esteemed our IIT Delhi Alumni Association global members and advisory board member, and I welcome their comment and questions.
Thank you very much, Sanjit. Really appreciated your practical thoughts in terms of boosting up collaboration. One question which comes to my mind is that how many IIT Delhi alumni do you know of in Europe, or even in Denmark or across Europe?
I know there are two more in my company. One is from IIT Kharagpur and another one is from IIT Bombay. And then I know Benjamin. I talked to him, and he do know 3-4 more members. So actually, particularly in Europe, less people are living here, and I'm living in the other part of Denmark, close to Germany. It is the border of Germany and Denmark. So here, mostly all the alumni they live in Copenhagen. So we are trying it, and we already started the activities. And with the help of Ravi, I think we will identify some active member which he might have direct contact. So there is no breach of data privacy and other things. And I can request them, and maybe through Benjamin and through Manmohan, we can broaden our network. That we can do.
Okay, thank you. And as what I was saying earlier was that yes, it may be worthwhile, that while you are looking after Europe and we've got UK as a separate team over there, but potentially both look at having a common chapter which covers both Europe and UK. Yes, Ravi, you wanted to say something?
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Sanjeev Dwivedi. Like I have put some comments also, but you give me the mail or your PPT. 30th July, we have a Senate meeting. I will take up all the issues in this meeting itself, and we'll prepare. And you give one report that you are talk about the innovation as a new course and tie up with the European University. So you send me the all details, and we'll prepare one report. Then we'll prepare this report as a contribution from the global executive advisory board, global executive EC member report, and we'll discuss this thing into this Senate meeting 30th July itself. I'll be participating there, and we'll see that some action happens on this. So this all great ideas. I think directly will love to react and to accept your ideas. So please send me the details, and I will forward to IIT Delhi to Senate to consider all these things.
Thank you, Ravi. I will send you these PPTs, and then your specific questions, what you want. So I do have contact in these, like in Europe University and this in the Europe in Denmark universities and all those things. So with your specific question, when you make proposal, please ask directly question to me. So I will give you all the detail, link, and my connections and all those. Then you can take it further from there.
Thank you.
Very good. Does anybody else have another question for Sanjeet? No? Then a big round of applause for Sanjeet. And at this stage, I would like to invite Amardev Sharma, who has been living in Germany for the last, quite a few years, I think 42 or 43 years, and who's been...
Pradeep sir, I'm sorry, I think Vijay sir had a question, Vijay Kaushik sir. He raised his hand, but I think
he got missed out. Okay,
yeah.
Just hang on a sec. Vijay, Vijay Kaushik, can you unmute yourself? I can see your hand now. And can you unmute yourself and ask the question? Vijay Kaushik, can you unmute yourself?
Yeah, thanks a lot. I am Vijay Kaushik, 1988 batch biochemical engineering and biotechnology, and I'm based in UK. And yes, there were some issues in UK with the Alumni Association, that there are websites which are offering membership, and after paying the fees, there is no response. So it's really important that a good suggestion has been made that Europe and UK can join hands and a common association can be made, because there is not much clarity in UK what is happening with IIT Alumni Association.
Very good. Thank you very much, Vijay. We appreciate, and I hope that you're in touch with Manmohan, Prakash, and you see, even the UK people. Are you in touch with Manmohan and Prakash?
No, I just met now only.
Okay, so can I ask you to just put down your email ID in the chat so that we can get you appropriately connected up?
Okay.
That is very good input. I mean, we need to be aware as to what has been happening and how best to take the way forward. Thank you very much. And any other questions? I don't see any other hands. So we are once again back to inviting Amardev Sharma. Amardev, can you please join, unmute yourself, and share a few? I know that I'm putting you on the spot without having any background, but I just would like to hear the top of your mind thoughts as they come to you when you kind of reconnect back with IIT Delhi and the alumni after so many years. So over to you, Amardev. And can we give a big round of applause to Amardev, please?
Yes, thank you very much, Pradeep. I think this is a great opportunity to be together with so many people, not just from my own batch of those years, but from so many other batches from IIT Delhi, starting from 1966. It's quite a long time before I was at IIT Delhi up to the 21st century. So that's really very great. What I found very interesting in the discussion so far is a couple of things. One is I think it's going to be very important, especially since there are not so many people in Europe and in the UK to link the UK and Europe. So I certainly agree with that part of what has been said. In addition, I think there is a lot of scope of connecting universities in Europe, and I do have a number of connections myself because I've been involved in research, in industrial research, all the 40 plus years that I've been in Germany. So a lot of connections that I have either in the networking area, which was where I started, and then following up in software engineering and lately in security. So I think that's a big point where I think I can possibly help in setting up the connections between IIT Delhi and both research institutions here and also universities. And Fraunhofer was mentioned. We do have connections with Fraunhofer and KIT as well. So that's great. If looking, I found it also very good to look at how we are looking at more kind of overall vision for this group, how we can contribute from the expertise we have from IIT Delhi to making the world a better place, let's put it this way. And my company, NEC, which is a Japanese company, so I also have some connections with Japan, has a long and strong focus on improving the lot of people all over the world. So how do we make them safer? How do we make cities safer? How do we make the people safer and live more and better, comfortable lives? So how can we contribute from that side? In Europe, one of the things that I've been involved in a lot in the last couple of years has been, which is I think something very specific for Europe, but also for Germany, is data protection and privacy, because there's a big effort put on that, and there's a lot of people looking at how can you combine that with being productive, because it shouldn't be a kind of blocking factor on the one hand to stop innovation, but at the same time enabling privacy and innovation at the same time. So I think that's another specific European and German context that I could bring into this discussion. So that's just to give you, because was not prepared to be saying anything.
No, I know. I
So
absolutely.
just putting together some ad hoc thoughts that I've had that I got through these discussions here.
Absolutely wonderful, Amartyo. And I know that because I touched base with you just about 3 or 4 days back. So it's fabulous to pull you into the ecosystem that we are building. And I really found, and I'll be inviting you as part of advisory board thoughts in one of the future sessions. But this is just to kickstart and to link you also with with what is happening in Denmark, and to get the integrated UK and Europe thing kicked off. So a big round of applause.
A lot of people, a lot of people also in Europe are very unhappy that the UK left Europe.
Yes.
So I think the connections are not going to stop just because of Brexit. There's going to be a lot of connections between the UK and the rest of Europe. So I think keeping this up is going to be also an important task.
Fabulous. So again, a big round of applause to Amartyo, and then let's move on to. Okay, so thank you, Amartyo. I'll be in touch with you, and we'll keep pulling you deeper into the ecosystem. Moving on to the next item, and we move from Europe we forget Brexit and we go to UK. And we've got 3 people from UK. Manmohan is one of them who, like I said, we felicitated, a couple of meetings back when he won the award for being one of the top 10 professors in operations. Then we've got Prakash, who's the geography coordinator for UK. And then we've got Basant. So the geography coordinator is Prakash, and Prakash also has been sharing some very good thoughts in terms of strategies as well as special interest group. So initially what I'm doing is I'm forming a group to kind of start looking at what kind of special interest group should be there, and Prakash will be part of that core team which will be looking at what SIGs should be there. But today he's going to be talking about his perspectives and more in regard to UK. So big round of applause to Prakash, please. Over to you, Prakash.
Hello. Thank you, Pradeep. Thanks a lot. Hello, everyone. It is my pleasure to get opportunity to talk to all of you. I have been in UK for not long, about 2.5 years. I'm 1998 graduate, and subsequently I did my MBA from IIM Bangalore as well. To cut a long journey short, when I came here in 2018. I realized that there is one IIT UK forum, and I did attended one of their sessions. And but largely, I found that we are very scattered and not very well connected. People got their own specific groups, batch wise or hostel wise or things like that, but it was not coming together in a big way. And subsequently, we attempted to bring together, IIT alumni alone. Then I realized that there is not sufficient quorum for that. So then we created whole IIT and IIM group. And when we created that IIT and IIM group, we realized that there are more than 1,000 people who are active and who are willing to be part of it. Okay, so it's very important that whenever we create any chapter or anything like that, there are some people who are willing to be part of it. So all I can say is this: among all the groups I have seen, this group is most active, and this group acts at local level, sharing the information about government policies, sharing information with respect to travel to India or something like that, sharing with respect to information, some people, kids, they are going to school. So there is a social, career wise, and there are multiple reasons for people to come together. Okay, and in my view, when we talk about geography wise chapters, that geography wise chapter needs to have its own agenda. Okay, now I have suggested that perhaps we need to see whether we can have one Europe chapter, where UK team and Europe team, they have some synergies to come together. Because standalone, I have found that IIT Delhi alumni do not have that many numbers in UK, and not very well connected. But if we have IITs across Europe and UK opportunities to work together, perhaps that would be one of the model which I would say that perhaps it may work. The second model is we create actually IIT and IIM group. Okay. Now the good part is that last year we actually hosted one event. That event is called Indian Minds and Global Citizens. And in that event, there was a bumper participation. People from IIT and IIMs, everybody wanted to come and attend. And we did a very good job of roping in High Commission of India. Now, as a either overseas citizen of India or passport holder of India, people have some reason to connect with High Commission or Indian Embassy. Okay. Now, so what we did, we roped in Indian Embassy, and people had reason to come over there, meet some of the Indian Embassy people as well, build their own network, and plus build their own network with respect to other IIT and IIM alumni. I'm happy to share with you, through this event, people build relationship. Today I see a lot of business relationships are being forged in that group. Okay, I'm seeing a lot of people are able to share their job related, career related aspects. Some people are able to share their if their new books are being released. So it has become good momentum over there. So there are two models in my view. Either we create whole Europe IIT chapter where people can find a interest, find a similar interest, or we create in UK IIT and IIM chapter where the foundation have already been done last year. So every first Saturday of every December, we decided to host this annual event. Okay, so this year it will be falling on the 5th of December, wherein we create some kind of interest focus sessions. And for example, last year we did an artificial intelligence, healthcare, and ESG, environmental related energy and social impact governance related topics. So we found that there is a good momentum around that, and people get associated with the topic, people get associated with the institute, and they get opportunity to meet somebody new as well. So it has built the momentum. So these are the two thoughts with respect to chapter. Another thought which I think we are now going towards it, everybody's galvanizing towards, we got to have specific focus groups so that we have some tangible results to achieve by end of this year. I would, as Pradeep has shared, I would be happy to, be part of it. And a couple of things which comes to my mind is, one is research and innovation, which Dr. Sanjeev just talked about. And similarly, last time when I met Director IIT Delhi, he told me that there is a shortage of about 300 faculty members in IIT Delhi alone. Okay, so just imagine, in remaining IITs, how many shortage of faculty is there. Then comes the with respect to international students. I think we need to focus groups. We are aware about what are the challenges. The question is how can we take a lead on and deliver something tangible. That's these are a couple of my thoughts. I'm happy to take any questions from each one of you.
Thank you very much, Prakash. I actually like that thought of kind of associating and including IIMs also, because end of the day, I think there'll be significant IIT population which is going to be in IIMs, and IIMs are also as good professionals that we are talking about. I suppose though my first comment would be that yes, we will have to maintain a separate identity for IIT Delhi, and just like we liaise with Pan IIT, will be the way we liaise with IIMs. Although collectively as an event, it could be just an IIT and IIM event kind of a thing. But these are just top of the mind thoughts. And it is something I absolutely agree, because I'm seeing the same kind of a situation happening in Australia and maybe in other parts of the world also, where there is a good relationship building between the IIT and the IIM communities over there. That's one side. Now, does anybody have any questions for Prakash?
Prakash, Manmohan, again from London. So, in your experience, what you saw with IIT, IIM, or Pan IIT sort of events, is there any existing legal entity in the UK?
So as of now, so last year it was informal and group we created, and as of now we are in the process of drafting the constitution for it. Okay? I'll be happy to share that draft constitution with you, and we are aiming, because of the COVID everything got delayed. We were aiming to create a legal entity around it. In UK, there are various kinds of such kind of entities can be created. So we are taking the one which is the least, which has the least requirement from the regulatory perspective.
So on this, I may just mention that rankings has already emerging as a very, very important focus area. And this is not only from the IIT director's perspective, but it automatically becomes a focus area for the IIT alumni as well. So, it is becomes pretty obvious to have a special interest group which is focused on to rankings. And it is, we will be having Manmohan heading up or leading that special interest group for rankings, and the relevant advisory board member is going to be Nemi, because both of them I saw were sharing very, very interesting thoughts in regard to ranking. So I thought I'd just update the group that this activity is already kind of happening in parallel. So Manmohan, anything else that you would like to add?
I've done rankings not of IIT, but I've done rankings of business school. So there are statistical methods to evaluate rankings and then find out which ones are bigger gaps. Professor Rao did discuss the big gaps, but those are not always the only gaps. So I think one thing I'll talk to Nemi about is that we do our own analysis, not the one IIT has done, but we do our own analysis
Absolutely.
first. And then we make a short report. At least we share that within ourselves and with the director, and then maybe list out next steps.
Fabulous. So any other question that anybody has for Prakash as well as Manmohan, while we've got both are based in London? Any questions?
Vijay got a question.
Yeah, Prakash, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so I was really confused that there is a website, IIT UK Alumni, and which is accepting the membership fees. So who is running that? And like few months back, I paid the membership fees, but I never heard anything from anybody.
So, I know the founders of one of the founders of that particular group. Okay, I can reach out to them, but as of now, my understanding that it's not very active group as of now. So, but I can reach out to one of the founders and inquire, what is their existence right now.
Yeah, either they should close this website. It gives a wrong impression.
Absolutely right.
So only, Pradeep, I would just conclude by saying one message. Okay. All the people, whoever wants to galvanize this, chapters, I would say that please try to use Indian Embassy as it is a very, very subtle way, but very, very important place where people want to get connected with. Okay. Very easy. And because we have successfully done that last year in London, and I have shared that executive summary report with all of you. Those people who have not seen it, you can ask me again. I will send it again. But use that report, because one of the things what happens in government is that they will ask that has somebody done it? Right? So it creates a reference point. You can tell that last year in London it has happened. High Commission of India did give that premise. They were patterns of that event. So it will give you a very big leverage. Okay, that is one thing. The second thing is this year on 5th December we are going to do it again. Okay, hopefully by the time COVID situation would be over and we could actually do it physically. But one day in a year, if we allocate, it creates some kind of momentum where across the world, if on one day, we are celebrating, our institute, we are inviting our, our successful alumni. So, it creates a huge momentum around it. And I have realized if there is a task, then there is a momentum. If there is no task, then momentum gets fizzled out. Okay. So those will be my, final thoughts.
So,
no, like in what way? Sorry, in what
Vijay,
way the
Vijay,
embassy?
in the interest of time, because both of you are in London, can I ask you to take this discussion offline? And I would like to move on with the agenda purely in the interest of time. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you.
Okay. Now, moving on, and first of all, please give a round of applause to Prakash for sharing his thoughts. I think there were some very, very important points, especially I think in the connection with the High Commission, which or the Indian Embassy, and that is coming out to be common across the world. And I think I also heard about him doing some work on the Constitution. So it may be worthwhile to connect you with Surinder, because Surinder has been working on Constitution for IIT Alumni Association in Canada. So it will be worthwhile for both of you also to share thoughts. And that's exactly the point. The point is why we should kind of, reuse existing intellectual property and kind of take advantage of. And of course, we realize that everything will have to be localized and so on and so forth, kind of a thing. But yes, we can share. Okay, so now moving on to the next item, and this is I really want kind of a great example. We have already set up a special interest group of global women alumni from IIT Delhi. And We have got two young ladies who are the leaders of this group. We've got Ragi from Singapore, and we've got Srijita from Portland in the US, who are leading this special interest group. Our LinkedIn group has already been set up, and this has happened just in 1 or 2 days. We've already got 56 people already as members of that LinkedIn group for Global Alumni Women. Mind you, we are not talking of, when we talk about global, we are not restricting it to only females who are living outside India, but anybody who has a global thinking. But you see, what a fantastic result. You got 56 people who joined in the LinkedIn group in practically 1 day. So with this, I'm inviting Ragi and Srijita to talk about this special interest group, which is Global Alumni Women from IIT Delhi. So over to you. Over to you, Ragi and Srijita. Please give a round of applause to Ragi and Srijita.
Hi, can you hear me?
Hi, everyone.
Yes, so I am Ragi, and I am leading the Global Women Alumni Group from IIT with Srijita. I am PhD from IIT Delhi. I did my PhD from Center for Atmospheric Science Department. After that, I did my postdoc from Belgium. And now I am a research scientist in Singapore. Yes, I will pass it over to Srijita. She will introduce herself and advisory member Shashi ma'am, and then she will talk about our goal, mission, and our objectives and what we have done till now. Srijita?
Yeah, thank you, Ragi. Hi, everyone. It's nice to see everyone's faces and the great ideas and suggestions. As a new member to the Global Executive Committee, I'm really excited to lead the Global Women Alumni Group from IIT Delhi. My name is Srijita Basu, and I live in Portland, Oregon. It's on the West Coast. It's really early, so I'm trying to wake up and get all the fresh ideas into my mind. Sir, would you help me share my screen? I was clicking on the screen and it said the host has disabled. So we have a small presentation and we quickly go by it.
You can see share screen, one participant, multiple. Yes. Okay. Now see if you can see, because I know that Sanjeet also had the same problem, and I'm wondering whether I have. So just try and see if you can share.
Yeah. Can you see my screen now?
Yes. Yes, we can.
Okay, so, it was Pradeep sir's idea. A couple of weeks ago, he reached out and said, why don't you start a special interest group, bringing together all the women professionals and alumni from IIT Delhi. And I said, wow, that's a great thought. And, Ragi and I got in touch last week, and we had some ideas along with Shashi ma'am, who's our mentor, to kind of, how do we start this group on LinkedIn, and how do we connect with all the women professionals from IIT Delhi to kind of, stimulate the women in their careers as engineers, leaders, managers, scientists, any profession you can think about. So I'm in the US, Ragi is in, I'm on the West Coast, Shashi ma'am is on the East Coast, Ragi is in Singapore. So trying to, build a global cohort. So, can you see the next slide? So, our team members, I'll quickly introduce Shashi ma'am. She's done her, master's in mathematics from the 1977 batch, and she's been associated with the Howard Art Museum. That's her LinkedIn profile. And I am presently working as a water scientist at a conservation organization in Portland, Oregon. It's called Sustainable Northwest. So I do a lot of water modeling, and I deal with a lot of state agencies and federal agencies working together to kind of bring natural solutions together in Pacific Northwest. And as Ragi said, she's based out of Singapore. She's climate modeler and a scientist for the Center for Atmospheric Sciences. So we have developed a mission and vision for this special interest group. The vision would be to bring together IIT women globally from the alumni network in a single platform and create community that helps them to thrive personally and professionally, and helps them to grow themselves, kind of exchanging ideas about career opportunities or growth, or if women professionals are starting some startups, or they're entrepreneurs, they can share ideas about their startups in this group. With this, going forward, our mission is to bring women in technology group together that would foster relationships, mutual respect, and highlight this diversity in IIT Delhi among talented professionals through networking, education, and mentoring. And our goals and objectives for the near future is first to create a steering group to engage IIT Delhi women and enable them to grow, develop a listserv and share newsletters with latest updates from IIT Delhi, share inspiring stories and achievements of these women professionals either in LinkedIn or the newsletters, or as daily updates in the listserv. Connect women professionals in their respective fields. Like, I am from water or environmental management. I know Rali is from a similar field. So I know 2 or 3 batchmates who are from similar fields and doing similar kind of work. So kind of creating that network internally within ourselves, and then, hosting forums and presentations from the network and sharing it with the present students at IIT Delhi, and exchanging ideas with the faculty. And then, I had this idea about creating a scholarship fund for higher education to support at least one woman student from a BTech or MTech degree course to complete a 3-month internship in a foreign university. So where I live, there are a couple of very good universities, Oregon State University, University of Washington in Seattle. So I have some contacts, and I can leverage those to help build these relationships. So for action items, as Pradeep sir mentioned, we've already created our LinkedIn group, and we have more than 55 participants, and Ragi has invited many others, and even Shashi ma'am and sir and I have invited many others. So we are hoping we could reach 100 by another week. So creating a database of women graduates from BTech, masters, and PhD till now would be our first step to gather information about where they are, what they're doing, which part of the world they live in, and creating daily or weekly posts on this LinkedIn group, sharing some successful stories and updates in this LinkedIn group to engage the women professionals through this group, and first starting connecting with at least 3 women professionals in the next month or so that we can highlight their achievements in newsletter and upcoming alumni meetings. So yeah, I would stop there. Ragi and Shashi ma'am, if you have some closing remarks, please go ahead.
And I thank you very much. Thank you very much. First of all,
sorry.
Like you see, I think this is absolutely fabulous work. In a matter of days, you see, they've got their vision, mission, and objectives, action plan. They've got a LinkedIn group. They've got 55 members, and they've been kind of talking across different time zones. And I do want to invite. Yes, Ragi?
Yeah, we have already got 2 people which is interested in presenting and collaborating with us and give some talks already. Which one is Anupama Rai. She is an IBM. She's working in IBM, and one is Dr. Neetu Yadav. She is working as assistant professor in BITS Pilani. So I just want to make a note of that we will be contacting them. We will be sharing their stories, and yeah, we are planning to update some stories of every single individual in our platform, and how we can make it a more interactive and vibrant community for women. So thank you for introducing us to making a lead for this group. I just want to thank you for
this is so good.
making this
This is so good. And what I want to do now is to invite Shashi Chawla, who's the advisory board member, and she's also been mentoring these two girls. You know, and Shashi is a 1977 graduate from IIT Delhi. She has been living in Boston for quite a few years. Please give a round of applause to Srijitha. Please give a round of applause to Ragi. And please give a welcome round of applause to Shashi. So over to you, Shashi.
Thank you so much. I hope you can hear me. Yeah.
Yes, we can hear you.
Great. So Srijitha and Raji have been very enthusiastic and put together a great PowerPoint. And we've been communicating with each other, and I'm really proud of their work. And the LinkedIn group indeed is getting very good response. And I have also reached out to several of my networks for that. And as it's already been mentioned that I was, my focus has been education. And I worked in museum education at the Harvard Art Museums, where I was also on the Education and Engagement Committee. I've also been involved with a couple of pan-IIT and global conferences, in particular trying to plan the education verticals. And I'm very proud to share that my batchmates, we have a group, and during this pandemic, a wonderful initiative has been started by my classmates, where we are doing knowledge sharing with each other already. And we have a weekly lecture every Sunday within ourselves. And in one of our classmates, who is Ambassador Rajiv Kapoor, gave a talk on Indo-China relations. I'm going to be talking about something related to museum education. And we have had talks on artificial intelligence, blockchain, and also other fields. So this is something that is engaging our own classmates in a wonderful way. And talking about, the ratings, etc., my feeling was that this is a great opportunity when digital learning and online education is becoming almost the new normal, whatever the new normal is, that we should really leverage it. And just as it was mentioned that there should be training for research and innovation in IIT Delhi, I do think that people could grow through training to learn new ways of doing online teaching with good presentations, because it's not a matter of just having, a lecture and just talking. There have to be ways to make it interactive, to engage audiences, and to use some kind of multimedia presentations. And I'm sure that we could ask people, this is a new chapter in everybody's life. So there could be new ideas, and they should be shared so that people can improve, so that there can be a better global outreach to share talent of faculty and students. Thank you.
So that's wonderful, Shashi. I think your thoughts about online, which is the new norm, they are great thoughts. And to that extent, I suppose the feedback should have already have been there with IIT Delhi, that they need to kind of give a strong focus if they have not already done so. But absolutely agreed with that. And for your information, I'll be speaking on virtual reality and augmented reality in our 1977 group in August. So we'll see you
Fantastic.
there. So please give a round of applause to Shashi.
Thank you.
As well as to Ragi and to Srijitha for the excellent work that they have done in getting this up and running in just a matter of days. With this, I will then move on to the next item. As I said today, that in community building, there are three elements. One is in terms of building the community, which is getting more and more people into it. Number two is engaging with the community, and stuff like awards, newsletters are tools which put together a higher level of engagement. And I'm therefore delighted to welcome both Anirban as well as Sanjay, who are running with the newsletter for the global or GCC initiative, to come and give us what are they doing. So please give a round of applause to Anirban and to Sanjay. Over to
Yeah,
you.
Pradeep, just one question, Pradeep.
Yeah.
Yeah, about this women program. I think connect EC members also so that they can share problems being faced by the women over here, and Global Women can help them.
So absolutely. So as far as the currently this LinkedIn group has come into a formation just about 1 day back, and it is
Yeah.
very much on the cards not only to EC members but to basically to reach out to as many women members who
That'll be
have a
better.
global perspective. But
Yeah, that'll be better.
what I was trying to highlight was that in 1 day we've got 56 members.
Yeah,
That's a,
that's good.
I mean,
That's
that's a
good.
fantastic achievement.
That's
I
really
mean,
good.
I'm saying that this whole thing has started in the last about 2 to 3 days, because I'm across what emails have been going on, what messages have been going around. So these girls have done a great job in terms of getting a document ready, getting a presentation ready, getting a LinkedIn group ready, and along with Shashi to get 56 members. This is just the beginning.
Yeah, that's
Take care
amazing.
and
That's amazing.
absolutely taken on board. It will be just extended as we go by. And
Okay. Thank you.
your input very well taken. And in fact, I'll make sure that the invite is sent out to the EC girls who are there at the moment, or whoever, any girl that I know from IIT Delhi alumni should be there.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, so over to you, Anirban.
Anirban, you're muted.
I'm so sorry. Good morning,
Go
everyone.
ahead.
Yeah. Thank you, Sanjay sir. I'm Anirban from Montreal. 2018, a master's student biochemical engineering. I'm doing my PhD here. I'll start with kind of a reverse route. I'll first like to acknowledge the people who help with the newsletter, starting with Sanjay sir, always giving me prompt feedback every time. Pradeep sir, always enthusiastic, being enthusiastic and encouraging me to give my best. Even Sundi sir. I'd like to thank Professor Sodi. He has given me almost all the write-ups I asked for. Thank you very much, sir. Director sir, he has agreed to provide the keynote address. Just one small thing, to Shashi ma'am and the other to Srijita ma'am and Ragi ma'am, I will reach out to you directly to include anything you want in the newsletter. In the interest of time, I won't do it right now. So as far as the newsletter goes, well, we have a rough format in mind, where we start with the keynote addresses, and then we have introduction of our global members, which we are working on right now, a suitable format, and then we have a felicitations section where we acknowledge the contributions of our alumni, and we then have an interactive section where, like, for example, we say some a day in the life of a global IITian, something which Pradeep sir asked us last time. So we are free to ideas. Please let me or Sanjay sir know. We would be glad to incorporate this. And before I pass the mic to Sanjay sir, I would also like to thank Harinder sir, because I took, like, he shared like a recollections book of his batch, and that was helpful for me to kind of build up on the newsletter, and I would also be using that template for future newsletters. Thank you everyone for your attention. Over to you, Sanjay sir.
Hello, everybody. I've been off the thing for a while, and Sodi, nice to see you. Our batchmates, it's a great reunion online. And I'll just say the newsletter initiative that started, I think, is a great idea, because we're talking about connectivity. And if you summarize a few points, called common messages connectivity. And so one of the things we wanted to do, and kudos to Anirban for putting together a framework, but we want to keep the newsletter interesting.
and not necessarily a book which you say I'll read someday or at my sleep time. So the topics he's talked about, I'm sure everybody will be interested. Then moving forward, we want to put in a short bio of few members at a time. First newsletter, we want to start with the advisory board members. If you give us a paragraph about yourself, what you do, what your interests are, and so forth. Then we will take whoever gives us input from the global EC, so we can have a broader introduction. But in addition, connectivity, coming back to it, we like to put a directory of all members of this global EC committee on a page, which will be a reference for us as it comes out in the first newsletter. So it will be, I feel like, and we feel like it will be exciting to have that information in front of us. And we'll keep it very short. So Pradeep ji has already asked Satish to provide us a list of all contacts. And once we get it, we'll reach out to all of you to get your permission to publish that information. As you know, data privacy and information sharing is a key factor. I did just exactly that in my own community of 67 households, and 58 said, yeah, please share. The other 9 are not built. So that they have no standing. So the point is, it will be with our cooperation. And we want to keep it very simple. Name, your specialization, year of graduation. What are you doing today? Like, for example, Sodhi, professor of XYZ and so forth. And your email address where you want to be contacted as a contact. So all of us have it as a handy reference on a PDF or if you want to print it. So as Anirban or I reach out to you or in preparation, please send it to us. But I'm going to start with Satish giving me the information and then we'll go from there. Any questions or suggestions on that?
So once again, please give a round of applause to Sanjay and to Anirban for getting the whole thing off the ground in just a matter of days. I mean, I have seen the draft coming through. I've seen the quality which is coming through. So I'm really proud of what you guys are doing. So please keep up the good work. Any questions from the audience for Sanjay and Anirban?
Yeah, Ravi.
Yeah.
Yes, Ravi.
Thank you, Sanjay. See, you talk about the data. There are two things I would like to stress upon all the members. First thing, that you use IIT Delhi alumni email for communication.
Yes.
So because that is our unique identity. Then secondly, ask people to get an alumni card. That will, because the IIT Delhi being situated in the capital, there are a lot of security issues are there. So there heavy security will be put up in the future. So we are also upgrading our alumni data card with a chip, so you can have access to library and the campus itself. So I would suggest that all members, those who are are here and those who are not here, please use IIT Delhi alumni email, get your personal email and alumni card, because that will solve our data problem, sharing problem, and all these things. Because you can have multiple emails, that's no problem. But if you have, then you can participate in the election when the election will happen the next year. So a lot of benefits are there. If you have the alumni, since 2007 we are running this program. I have changed my signature also just after putting Ravindra Kumar, President ITT. Then I just asked whether you have a lifelong email ID, whether you have the alumni card. So I would like this is the only point I want to share at this place. Thank you.
Yeah, Ravi, last week I had shared that with everybody also. And I'm really pleased that our past dean got this thing done. And it's really a unique identity for us. But moving forward, I wanted to subscribe to get the alumni card. And this will be helpful for everybody else who goes on the link. They ask for rupees and so forth. And of course, all of us on this call are, not except you and maybe a couple others, we are all outside India. How do we pay for that alumni card, or shall we pay it on arrival when we come to pick it up?
See, these days the cards, a small card, they accept the, we have our, payment gateway. So they accept $10, $15, you can pay in the foreign currency.
I see.
Absolutely. So that is
Okay.
because I'll tell you, Sanjay. We are running short of fund to run the alumni activity. So we find a ways to. I mean, we sell merchandise also. I mean, you can have like I'm wearing IIT Delhi T-shirt.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. so that is, then we have other things, no, merchandise, then alumni card. So these are the way of, just mobilizing resources.
Okay, guys. Okay,
Great.
guys.
Thank you.
In the interest of
Anybody
time.
else? Oh, Anirban.
I don't have a question. I just have I'll take 10 seconds.
Yeah.
I'm just asking if anyone has their own blog, WordPress, I know a lot of IITians on Quora. Please send me a link. For example, I know Quora, you will get like a ton of followers. I'll get you 500 for sure. So please let me know that, and I really like Quora, Reddit, and I will do that. And last thing is, especially to Srijita ma'am, the last point, like providing someone a scholarship, a woman a scholarship, I think that is so cool. Really, that is the coolest thing I've seen today. Thank you very much for doing that.
So all of you, please keep your tempo. Absolutely, I love it. I love the enthusiasm which all of you are kind of showing. So please give a round of applause to Anirban and to Sanjay. Now we have gone 11 minutes over time, but there are still 4 minutes. If anybody has a last minute pressing question, one item of the agenda today I have skipped, and that is on the vision, mission, and the charter. And that is because 2 reasons. One is that Sundi had some personal engagement today where he had to miss out, but he had passed on the file to me and to Manmohan. And Manmohan is also the secondary contact for the project charter. And I thought that yes, if time permits, because we had a pretty heavy agenda. So in the interest of time, I've deferred that discussion to next time. But I think the progress that we are making, I was particularly delighted to see what has happened in the women special interest group. I was particularly delighted to see what is happening in the newsletter. I was also particularly delighted to see other, views and inputs which are coming through today. So all in all, yes, the journey is on early parts, and yes, we need to start getting down into tangible bounds. But at the same time, it is important for the norming and storming and group dynamic to evolve between all of us, and which I think is happening very well. So with that, anybody has any pressing question? 1, 2, 3. Who's that? Oh, Sanjay. Yes, Sanjay.
Yeah, just a real important comment here, and I think all of you will agree. Pradeep has been giving us, round of applause and everything, but I think his leadership and his enthusiasm to keep us going and connecting from New Zealand to West Coast of US is great. So he deserves a huge applause.
Thank you so much for that. I am enjoying this hell of a lot, and I am at that point in time where I only do stuff that I am interested in. So I'm enjoying this, and it's really lovely to kind of connect with all of you, and I appreciate
Thank you.
Take care. Have a lovely day, morning, evening, night. Bye.
Bye-bye.